So somebody in another country has been listening to the talks on trust and wrote in a question. They're having marital problems. They've been trying to deal with them, and it's not coming together, and his wife wants to separate. So I am not a marriage counselor. Yeah, but I can certainly understand how painful this kind of separation it is, because when the other partner wants to separate but you don't, and especially when there's children involved. And so there's sometimes you can get very funny dynamics, one partner blaming the other partner, or somebody taking more responsibility for the breakup of the marriage than is really their responsibility, or somebody not taking enough responsibility for the breakup when it is their responsibility. And, you know, and so these things always happen, don't they? I mean, this is the unfortunate result of when there's attachment and things don't work out in the way that we would like them to. And this particular person feels like he's really done his best and tried and wants to go to a marriage counselor, and his wife doesn't want to. And then what can you do? I mean, you just have to accept the situation, that's it. And try to have a positive attitude. You know, change is what is the water we live in, isn't it? And we can't always control the way things change and make them change in the way that we want them to. So the idea is, you know, however things change, as well as we can accept the change and then see possibilities in it. You know, instead of saying, oh, my whole life is falling apart, I don't know how I'm going to survive and what I'm going to do, say, okay, there's this change that I didn't expect and don't want, but there's also a whole lot of new possibilities that can come about with it, you know, because there's often, you know, there's ways to grow as an individual. There's a way to tap into your own internal resources that maybe were going neglected while you were in the relationship, you know, or things that you were interested in that you didn't get a chance to pursue in the relationship. So there's always something new that's going to unfold. And so at the beginning you may not see it because you're so stuck in what what isn't going to be. You know, but if you look towards the future with an attitude of hope and optimism, you may find the possibility for a lot of growth and a lot of good things coming your way. I think the especially important thing when there's children involved is to really say very explicitly to the children that this is mommy and daddy's problem, okay? That the children are not at fault. That's really important, because sometimes young children, they can blame themselves when mom and dad break up. One woman wrote me after her husband left and said that their 4-year-old said, oh, I know why daddy left. It was because I was naughty. And it was like, oh no, that's not why daddy left, okay? So it's important that the kids know that it's not because of them, and that both parents do love them. And I think even when there's separation, it's so important for the sake of the children that mom and dad get along, you know, and not use the children as pawns to retaliate against each other for things that the other one did or didn't do, but to really look at the children and because both parents love the children and want the best for them. And the best, even in the case of separation or divorce, is for the parents to be polite and civil to each other, to speak well of each other, you know, to not take their anger out on the children in any kind of way. Yeah, so if the parents can at least talk about that and agree on that, that will help them quite a bit as well as help the children themselves. Yeah? Anybody have Any comments they want to add or questions? Or, you know, you kind of have to go through the disappointment, sometimes the fear of what's happening, sometimes the fear that you didn't do what you should do, or should have done what you didn't do, and just, you know, have some acceptance and find some peace in the past instead of reliving things and ruminating about them over and over and over again. You know, we all made mistakes. We can own it. We can live, you know, we can learn from them. We can go on in our lives. But we don't want to stay stuck in the past, because the past isn't happening now. And the future has left, you know, is in front of us, and we have a precious human life, and there's so many good things we can do and become with this precious human life. So let's do that.
I think the timeline meditation is especially relevant in these times. See how universal this is.
Yeah.
And it helps.
Okay, so she's saying the Tonglen, the taking and giving meditation, is very, very effective in this kind of situation, where you take on the pain, not only of your spouse or ex-spouse, but of everybody else who is in a similar situation. You know, and you give them your happiness. And so to really do this taking and giving meditation, because this situation of marital discord and marital breakup is so prominent. I mean, so many people go through it. So if you think of all the pain of all the people who are having this situation, and you think, as long as I'm suffering, may I take their pain on myself. And as long as I have good things and happiness in my life, may I multiply those and give them to all those other people who are going through the same thing that I'm going through. You know, so do it for the people who are on the side that you're on of it's being a change you don't want. Do the taking and giving for the people who are on the other side, the side of they want the change. So that would be your spouse or ex-spouse and everybody else, you know, who wants change in their relationships. Try and see the situation from many different angles and perspectives, and realize that everybody in one way or another is suffering. Everybody wants happiness. And so make it a universal thing, and really think that you can take on others' misery and give them your happiness, and that they receive, you know, because you multiply your possessions and your virtue in your body and send it out to everybody, and think they receive it, and that it soothes their pain and gives them hope, and so on.
The other thing that I find really helpful is the thought that if you truly love the other person, if you have a true sense of loving kindness, then you also need to be able to understand that maybe it's not best for that person to be in a situation, and it's best for them to change.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so saying that if you really have a sense of true loving kindness, that you may see that it may not be best for that person to stay in the relationship, or that they need that kind of change. And our difficulty in seeing this is because there's so much attachment mixed in with our love. Yeah. And we want that person to be happy, but we want them to be happy with us. We don't want them to be happy with somebody else or in some other kind of way. You know, it's like we want them to be happy, but with me in this relationship. Yeah. And so learning to loosen that and free ourselves from that attachment and really wish them well, because they're also going forward into the unknown. Yeah, just as we are. And so to really wish them well and wish ourselves well at the same time.